Good morning, everyone. Got your coffee? I got mine. So listen, before I get into what I want to say today, there are people that I need to thank. I need to say thank you so much to, a special thank you to Gilda. Gilda, you are in the middle of an amazing life right now. And I thank you so much for stopping and thinking about me on Mother's Day the way that you did. Just always so supportive. I appreciate you, sis. Thank you, girl. Thank you. And I want to say thank you to Madeline. Madeline, who's becoming another person who is so supportive. I appreciate you, Madeline. The first person, in fact, to say here, Happy Mother's Day, and to send me a Mother's Day gift. Thank you. And I want to say thank you to Edward. Edward, thank you so much. Edward, you are just so supportive. You are. And to have your support, on this platform, considering the things that I talk about, and, and being able to stomach those things and hear those things with a truthful ear, I appreciate you and I respect you for that. And then I want to say thank you so much to Patrick. Patrick, there are so many people who have started with me, Patrick, and this platform, as you know, is very, very pro-black. Very pro-black. And not everyone has the stomach to hear, like I was just mentioning with Edward, to hear this level of truth and to sit through it time after time after time again. So I've had a lot of people abandon my platform and take away their support. And you've not done that. You have remained steadfast, and you have listened to the truth and heard the truth and not challenged the truth and just been here for the truth. And I appreciate that. I do. Thank you, everyone. Listen, I hope you had a good Mother's Day, everyone. I'm going to tell you about my Mother's Day, and I'm going to trauma bond a little bit, so here's a bit of a trigger warning. Yesterday, I don't go out too much. The only time that I don't go out too much outside of my community. Maybe I should put it that way. I don't. And especially with this being the South and a red state, in South Carolina, it has its, don't get me wrong, the U.S., before anyone goes there, is racist. This is a racist nation. But there are some parts that are better than others and some parts that are worse than others. And in South Carolina is one of those states where white people, they like their performative blacks. And what I mean by performative blacks is they like blacks that are not going to challenge their racism. They like blacks that are not going to make them feel uncomfortable about their racism. They like blacks that side with them to uphold patriarchy and caste and their standing in society. They love those types of black people here in the South. But as Trump, as time goes on and Trump has become the president, white people here are moving differently. They're moving differently all over across these United States. And they are actively picking fights with black people, with black children, with black women especially. And I am very seldom alone. This is how I know how pervasive this problem is getting. I am very seldom alone. The only time that I am alone, literally, is when I am on my way to go get my husband from work, or I've just left from dropping him off from work. The only time that I'm alone. And it's those times that I am alone that I notice that other white racist drivers or white people will start shit with me, actively start shit with me. And I'm having too many of these occurrences for it to be a coinky dink. So yesterday, I'm on my way to go get my husband. And there is this white guy, and I'm going to assume that this is his family he was with. It was a woman and two children. The children, They might have been around, I'll say, if I had to guess, I'd say maybe 10 and 11. It was a girl and a boy. Girl looked slightly taller and older than the boy. And I'm driving down the street. No music playing. I'm deep in thought. And this white man steps out in front of my vehicle and decides to be a racist and just bother a black woman. Now, as I'm driving down the street, right, I see this white man because he's doing shenanigans, trying to get my attention, because I recognized right when he recognized me. And he saw a black woman alone and saw this as his opportunity to use me in order to entertain his family. You know, I wasn't having a bad day yesterday, but I was having a thoughtful day yesterday. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm a human like everybody else. You know my persona, Woke Gardner, but I'm a human like everybody else. And I get tired and I get exhausted. White people and their bullshit exhausts me. Just like any other conscious black person, I get exhausted. And I know that I talk a lot about race. And that's because it affects me and it affects the people that I love, and that's other black people. And so this is what I talk about. Because it affects our lives and our minds. And the only way for it to not do that is for you to be the kind of black person that buries your head in the sand, have it up your ass, or you just ignore it, or you perform, which is what he wanted me to do. And I am not that kind of a black person. Without thinking, I took my vehicle and swerved it into them. I didn't even think about it. I was just exhausted in that moment of all the hate and the racism and the evil and the ugly. And I just turned the wheel. Well, their faces turned from hysterical and laughter into fear. And their fear was righteous. Because it's scary having a car careen into you. It is. Now, I'm a very good driver. I was taught to drive when I was 12 years old. I pretty much know what I'm doing. I know how close to come without actually causing you real harm. And I didn't cause them any real harm. Luckily for them, they were up against someone's privacy fence down the road. And I don't know if you know, but here in South Carolina, most streets don't have sidewalks. You have to kind of, some do depending on where you are, but sidewalks are not common here in Columbia, South Carolina. And they went up on the embankment and I kind of pinned them up against the fence. And then I kind of just drove off. Now, I don't know if that's on somebody's security cameras. If people invest in cameras the way I do around my house, I'm pretty sure that it is. So I don't know if somebody's going to knock on my door today with an arrest warrant or what have you. I don't know. If they do, I hope you support me because I have no bail money. Okay? I have no bail money and I don't know if I'm in trouble for it or not. But imagine racially harassing someone who is behind the wheel of a motorized weapon when you could have just left them the fuck on alone. He could have just left me the fuck on alone. And I know that if I'm having these experiences, I know that I am not the only black person. Because again, let me remind you, I don't go anywhere. I very seldom venture outside of my own community. And when I do, I'm with my husband. And now, white folks are all over TikTok. Racist white folks. talking about how they got black fatigue. They didn't colonize some more shit. They say that they are experiencing black fatigue, and they describe that as being tired of listening to black people be the victims and talk about racism and make everything about race. Literally, they are the ones that do that. Black people can't play the victim. We don't have to play the victim. They're literally out here constantly trying to make us the victim, turning us into the victim. And because we won't coddle them and not enough of us will perform for them, they got black fatigue. That's not what black fatigue is even. Black fatigue is what I experienced in that moment. It's when black people, our minds, get so fucking sick and tired of the shit that white people, racist white people, actively put us through on a daily. The mental, emotional, spiritual, psychological gymnastics of it all. That is what black fatigue is. There have been books written about it. And because these people colonize everything, co-opt everything, they have taken this term and tried to redefine the term. Much like they have, say, DEI and thug. Can you tell that I'm tired? And they got the nerve to say that they are tired of us. And you know, that just translates into they are tired of us holding them accountable for their racist bullshit. They are tired of feeling uncomfortable when we bring up their racism. They are tired of us fighting these systems of oppression that their ancestors built, to which they still benefit from and have no intention in tearing down or dismantling. They are wanting to go back to a time when they openly called us nigger, while we just out living and existing and minding our business like I was yesterday. If you are on TikTok, there's so many incidents, y'all, where they are racially harassing us. Anytime a full-grown woman racially harasses a 5-year-old autistic black child on a playground and makes nearly $1 million doing it, y'all know we are in a real bad place here in America. A real bad place. We are Rodney Hinton Jr. level tired. I know I am. I don't know about you, but I am sick of white people and they shit. And I don't know how much more of it I can take before I decide not to swerve last minute to avoid that harm. I was telling my girlfriend about it, and she said, not the kids too. I said, yeah, the kids too. Fuck them kids. Fuck them kids. They were laughing and thinking it was funny too. You know, when I see white children, I'm going to be honest and have a real moment here. Not only do I typically don't acknowledge most white people, but I don't acknowledge their kids either. I don't give a fuck about their kids like that. And let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. That man was actively teaching his kids to be racist. And his kids' generation is going to be the generation that's going to give y'all kids hell. Because they pass racism down just like they do blue or brown eyes. That shit gets encoded in them. They just the little racists of tomorrow. And I especially don't like it when I'm standing in the line at the grocery store and I'm minding my business and there's some white mother there and she's got her kids and she's doing everything she can to get my attention so that I can smile at her kids or say, oh, they're so cute, or oh, they're so adorable. That's usually the only time when white women actively smile at me all big, and because they see black women is racist. And let me help y'all see that. They see black women as the mammy. They do. They see us as mammies to them, to their children, to their community. And too many of us black women play that role. So they expect it of all black women. Especially if I'm out there dressed like this. They expect me to be the mammy. They don't expect me to look over there and then look away and mind my business. Because again, when I see their children, all I see are the racists of tomorrow. I don't care about their kids like that. I don't. And to you white people who count yourselves as not being racist, you think you're not racist. When black people are not acknowledging you, when we are minding our business, when we are not seeing you, I can tell you that that's what's going through our minds. We are not seeing you because we have always been forced to see you. We are not acknowledging you because we have always been made to have to acknowledge you. We are not putting you before our own selves and our own comfort because we have always been forced to do that too. We're just a couple of generations removed from when we had to get into the street and allow you to walk down a sidewalk and where we couldn't look you in your eye. We're only a couple of generations removed from that. We just want to mind our own fucking business and not have to think about you, your feelings, and your comfort. With every fucking breath we take. You can never be more sick of us than we are of you. Never. And at the end of the day, there is a way to fix it. Stop being racist. And if you can't do that, leave black people the fuck alone. It's really that easy. It's that easy. Y'all will do everything except leave us the fuck alone. Because your racism, your mental disease of the mind demands that you take every opportunity to be a racist piece of shit. With that being said, I don't know if 12 gonna show up at my door today, but if they do, I hope you support me because I ain't got no bail money like I said. With that being said, if you would like to support the platform, I will leave my Cash App and my Venmo down in the comments. Y'all have a wonderful day. I hope something I said made you think, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.